Hello and welcome to the CTN Sports Game of the Week. I'm Kevin Bryant. In a moment, be joined by Pete Poyer for tonight's action right here in Pioneer as the visiting River Rats with their 8-2 record try to knock off the 9-2 Pioneers. Don't go anywhere, folks. This one is going to be a game of the week you don't want to miss.
And welcome to CTN Sports Game of the Week. I'm Pete Poyer along with Kevin Bryant. How you doing, Kevin?
Man, I'm ready for this one. I'm not sure if the fans are out there in TV land ready, but this one, Pete, man, this one's circle.
We got a good game on tap here. Both teams with excellent records so far in the season. The Pioneers on their home floor at 9-2, taking on the visiting River Rats at 8-2. Should be an exciting matchup here on CTN Sports Game of the Week.
Yeah, there's going to be somebody hanging on the rim. There's going to be some deep threes. This is one of those you can't miss games, Pete.
Well, hang on tight. We're about to get the jump ball. And we are underway as Cason Pryor wins the tap for Pioneer. He'll hand it off to Drew Louder. And we are underway here on CTN Sports. Now Pryor will drive the lane off the backboard and in. And Pryor and Pioneers draw first blood.
And Pryor, that's a welcome sight for the coaching staff, Rich Marion and the Pioneers. Pryor giving that head and shoulders fake, putting the ball on the deck. A lot of people said he's been, having too much success out beyond the arc and shooting way too many shots beyond the arc. As a 6'7", 6'8" guy, you need to utilize that length.
Establish yourself down low and get that in and out game that is so potent for most basketball teams. There's a drive of the baseline off the backboard and in.
Ayush
Undikat with the bucket for Huron.
That familiar face back on the sideline. You can see him right there with his hands up on the bench, Walid Samaha.
And there's a shot from Pryor, and that is nothing but net. That for two. Pioneer pulling a little bit of a switcheroo on the Huron River Rats with a press. There's a long jumper out deep for Mike Robinson, and that one's good for three, and Huron takes the 1-point advantage, 5-4.
A lot of length out there for the Rats. Robinson 6'5" on that shot.
Louder with the jumper. That's off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Huron.
That's a familiar family face out there with Lewis bringing the ball up court.
Ayush with a long jumper, but they get the offensive rebound, and the putback is good. And Mike Robinson with another bucket for the River Rats.
Look at how Mike Robinson keeps the ball high, goes right back up quick. A pogo stick right there.
Kind of what I'm waiting for is what I'm used to is the ball, both teams pushing it up the floor.
At pace.
And Louder really slowing down the pace, bringing it up the floor right now.
This guy's flash. When Drew gets the ball, you got to sit back because that guy is quick.
There's a long three-pointer from the corner. That's no good. Rebounded by Huron.
And this is a matchup right here, Pete. Womack, the sophomore guard from the Rats, he's an up-and-coming player.
Another long three-point try by Huron by Lewis is off the mark. And Pioneer back up the floor.
Now setting up the action is Louder.
Well, Pryor with the screen.
Already signed to play at Holy Cross.
And Pryor with the long three-pointer, and that's nothing but net.
It's the Case and Pryor show so far.
All the points scored by Pryor at this point for the Pioneers. And there's a traveling call. Pioneer got a little lucky as Pryor rushed in to defend that and could have been called for a shove, but traveling before that action.
Well, it kind of looked like that size slowed up the shot. And next time when you get that pass, you got to take it strong to the rim.
There's a drive and a block.
A lot of length down there.
Quickly down the floor is Huron, and no basket, but a foul call. That's going to be on Drew Louder.
Well, you can see Udoka go right strong to the rim. First, you see the block on the other end by Lewis to trigger it, and then what you were asking for, Pete, the press, the transition, push it up court. There goes the Rats.
And Lewis in there late gets called for the hack on the arm. And the first free throw from Ayush is good.
You can see the Pioneer student section. They cause that miss right there.
Louder with the rebound, tries to go behind his back, loses the handle. Huron back up the floor quickly. There's a shot, no good, but we get a whistle and a foul call.
That was a sloppy break there. It almost was a travel. Fortunate for the Rats to get that foul called. Let's take a look at the feet right here out of Robinson. He almost gets caught up when that ball catches up to his face. Smartly, though, he finds his helper. Somebody trailing the play. Mike Davis has some basketball shoulders at the line there. Look at him. You can see he's got some growth in him, right? It's kind of like
linebacker action.
Well, linebacker, but you remember Kevin McHale with those big shoulders like
Absolutely.
that? I mean, he kind of had that same build. Now, if he has the down low moves like Kevin McHale, we're going to have to stop the presses.
That's right. Well, Davis is a 6'5" junior.
Yeah, it looked like there was a conversation going on, and Anush for the Huron actually left the game, and it looked like he had a little blood. That's what the stoppage of play was for there, Pete.
And Mike Davis hits the second. Huron with the three-point edge. And get it down low. Turnaround jumper by Pryor is good as he hits the floor.
Well, you remember the first time we had Pryor on the CTN Sports Game of the Week, he was just scoring similar to this. Maybe it's because it's the CTN Sports Game of the Week.
Three-pointer from the corner, and that's no good. We have a whistle and a shove.
It's a good ball rotation here by Pioneer, and quickly getting that shot up and off. It's Case and Pryor.
Offensive foul by Pioneer, so Huron will keep it. It's probably the most height we've seen on the floor in quite a long time, Kevin.
Out of both the backcourt as well as the front court, right?
Both teams. Oh, Pryor with the rebound there, hands it off to his counterpoint.
Nice the way to see Louder's allowing the game to come to him. When we saw him earlier in his career, he was forcing and pressing the action. This is a guy that's going to be running a Division I backcourt, so he's learning how to distribute the ball, get other players involved.
Louder fouled on the drive.
You can see how Louder's already trying to get the crowd into the game. And he's trying to pump up the visiting crowd.
Louder's first one is off the front of the rim. No good. And we're knotted at 10.
Oh, it's a tough pass there.
Another deep three-pointer from the corner off the rim. No good, but the putback by Julian Lewis right there with the offensive board.
Man, I thought Julian was going to be hanging on the rim there for a second. That was a great follow-up.
And Louder with the jumper out by the three-point line. I think that's just good for 2. Reties it at 12.
Well, you know Drew is not going to shy away from the crowd when he hears it.
And there's another steal by Pioneer. And a three-pointer from Louder is off the back of the rim, no good. Put back also no good. Rebounded by Huron.
Well, all of that size out there is causing those rebounds.
Now we got a drive on the baseline, and that is good. Trey Gardette for the River Rats.
Gardette, a sophomore, good double clutch on that shot.
Well, he had the open lane to the baseline and took it and scored the hoop. A bunch of players hit the deck.
Van Redegren on a good drive here, but watch this, head and shoulder fake. And you know that Huron is trying to go up and block a lot of shots. That was a smart play.
Long three-pointer on the way for Pioneer, off the front of the rim, no good.
See, the Rats might be a little bit deeper. Looks like they got 4 new players out here that didn't start the game already.
There's another strip by Pioneer, and the drive off the rim and backboard is good. Alex Cunningham. Got to give some good defensive effort to Mac Van Rentergy, as he's come up with 2 or 3 steals already in this game.
Good hands into that passing lane, like you're saying, Pete. And a good finish there by Cunningham. Strong drive.
There's a jumper in the paint by Mike Davis, off the rim, no good. Pioneer will bring it back quickly. There's a jumper by Louder, and that is nothing but net.
Can we see a replay of that? Louder really reacted like he got touched. That's a heady player because he's going to draw fouls like this at the next level.
Watch his leg movement on this shot.
There was nowhere near a foul, but I like Drew. He's smart. Whoa,
Robinson knocked away from him. We got another turnover, and possession going to the Pioneers.
Well, it's either Van Redegren or Cunningham. A lot of hands in the passing lane for Pioneer, and you saw the reaction out of. Look at Drew. He's like, wait. That's what we're going to have to call the Drew Louder effect.
The Drew Louder
how
effect.
He just comes out here and he takes over. From a showman, he's running the entire gym right now.
Yeah, another jumper by Louder is good.
This is his house, folks. This is
under
his guy's
30
house.
seconds to go here in the first. It's been a spirited first quarter. Louder taking over here in the latter stages.
Well, Pioneer with 2 Division I players, and both of them are shining right now in this game.
There's a great shot. No basket is the call.
Basket is disallowed.
Oh, can we take a look at that one? Because, you know, he's in the shooting motion. The ball doesn't come back down. How is that not and one? He already had the official had his hand up in the air like he was calling an and one.
Yeah, Devin Womack with that shot. He doesn't get the benefit.
That was a bad call by the official after he thought about it.
After you thought about it, that's
well. After we saw it too.
Well, and we have the advantage of replay. They don't. So.
Yeah, but it looked like when official calls and he puts his hand in the air, that it is supposed to be a and one. Man, tough fadeaway. Look at this. He was just
there's
telling that
Louder
side of
shushing the Huron
he was
crowd.
just telling them to get up and stand up, and now he's telling them to be quiet. I tell you, this is his house.
There's a shot at the buzzer, no good for Huron. And a late burst from Drew Louder in that first quarter, and Pioneer takes a 4-point lead, 18-14 into the second. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more action right here on CTN Sports Game of the Week.
Follow CTN and Arbor on Facebook. Just open up Facebook, hit like to stay up to date on workshops, our program schedule, and behind-the-scene photos. Find us at CTN and Arbor.
Moved by Councilmember Lum, second by Councilmember Graham. Discussion?
Just when people are paying attention to voter registration and turnout.
I think is a useful way to figure out how to tackle this problem. I've never seen any kind of report that was more complete.
I know that we had talked about wanting to do more with it, though.
That's why the stairway is so important.
One thing I would maybe recommend you consider.
I think it's a very reasonable request.
It has all of the different activities that are available across parks.
And we're back with second quarter action here on CTN Sports Game of the Week. Both teams heading back out on the floor to start said second quarter. Kevin, what are your impressions of the first?
Well, I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm glad we had a timeout there because, you know, that was an exciting first quarter. Both sides going back and forth. I can point out several players, but let's just talk about the teams. Both teams played well. I believe that Coach Samaha, his squad is a little bit deeper. So for Coach Marion, wow. Guy's got about a 40-inch vertical in front of us.
That was nice.
For Coach Marion, it'd be interesting to see how he utilizes his bench and his chess pieces in this chess match between the two coaches.
Oh, certainly the Pioneer regulars are out there much longer than the Huron starters. That shot is off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Pryor.
I'm glad they didn't call a foul on that, Pete. You see that a lot where there's contact after a shot. It's not needed. It's called too frequently nowadays.
Yeah, especially in the pros.
Yeah, and you saw Drew Louder in the first quarter kind of react to try to entice a call. That's, you know, I love the gamesmanship, but better not to call those type of shots. Those calls.
Three-pointer from downtown from Louder off the mark. Riverettes quickly down the floor. There's a shot, no good. Rebounded by Huron. Putback is no good. Julian Lewis will get the foul call and head to the line for Huron.
Well, you see Womack really pushed the pressure in, but great job there by Lewis. We saw him in that first half come and almost flush one on a rebound, and that one right there, faster on his feet with good technique by keeping his hands up tall. Must be jersey night over in the student section. You see all those darn jerseys those kids have on? Pick out one. I see a Kobe. Who was 17 for Michigan? That's just like a cheap jersey.
Now Pioneer back on offense. Louder to Pryor. Pryor was going to drive. Kind of a swing back and bowl the ball motion there for a second.
Little Pistol Pete.
Little circus action there.
Wasn't that your nickname back in the day too, Pistol Pete?
Yes, it was.
All right, I can see
I
that.
would never want to take that nickname away from Maravich, though.
Yeah,
he was the original.
A tough one. That's a nice one. But that move there by Pryor, you saw him rocking it back. It was a good job because he did have the defender fall for that pass.
And Pryor hits the first free throw.
And Pryor from this year to from last year to this year, you can see he's put on a little bit of weight. He's got a little bit more to go.
Yeah.
But he's definitely been in the weight room some.
And hits a second as well. He's definitely got the offensive game.
Oh, man, he's Kevin Durant-ish.
I think college coaches are going to want to see him develop a little defensive, but, get blocking more shots and that kind of thing.
Well, and I like the way that last year when we were watching Pryor, it was all offense. And it looks like he's looking to the teammates and getting other people involved. It's a good action out of the Rats. That's a double dribble.
Nice call there, Kevin. That is exactly the call on Trey Gardette, and Pioneer will get the turnover.
Got to catch this ball clean.
Timeout on the floor. 30-second call by Huron.
Can't do that. There's Coach Samaha.
Nice to see him back on the Huron bench.
Yeah, and it's nice to see him on the boys' side. Last year he came back to the Huron program. He was on the girls' bench, and he really got them playing that stifling defense that this is a Hall of Fame coach. And he's an alumni guy. So he knows what it is to be a Rat, and he translates that type of energy into his game plan. Coach Samaha is very animated on the sideline and has, of course, put up some stellar records. This right now is one of his younger teams, so his fingerprints are all over the squad.
Oh, back to action on the floor. Louder, the spin new drives the lane. We have a whistle on the drive and a foul call. This is Trey Gardette picks up the foul.
Louder can go from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat, even on a backspin like that. And that's why he's so, dangerous. One of the reasons why.
The jumper from Pryor is off the rim, no good. That's rebounded by Lewis. Now back out top.
Man, Julian, he looks so much, of course, like his brother, but how he handles the ball out there.
Lewis nearly lost the handle. Three-pointer on the way is no good. And it's out of bounds off the River Rats, and Pioneer will have it. 5:44 to play here in the half. Pioneer up 20-14.
All of the Lewis boys, Coach Mike Lewis, he's one of the assistants on the bench. This is his third kid that he's had through the program. They're all talented players that can put the ball on the deck, shoot it outside, as well as rebound.
Very athletic guys.
Yeah, and smart players, too.
Yeah. Well, you kind of expect that from a basketball dad,
And a basketball family, that's right.
And Louder with the pull-up jumper is off the mark, no good. Lewis will pick up the rebound and head back down the floor. Gardette with it. He'll drive the lane, shoot the shot, and that is off, no good. Pioneer back the other way quickly. Louder.
Aiden Wright.
Hands it up for a long three for Aiden Wright, no good. Pryor will corral it, and he'll shoot up the three and hit.
Well, he didn't just shoot the tray. He showed you that he shot the tray. He almost made a statue out there after that shot.
Now Pioneer stretching their advantage to 9, 23-14, and River Rats really got to be careful right here.
The Rats, they haven't been able to get any points off of transition. All of it's half court. And the Pioneers are doing a great job on the defensive end.
There's a drive of the lane, one shot and done for Huron. Pryor down the lane. Looked like he was doing the triple jump there, getting into the lane.
Well,
his shot's no good, but he drew the foul.
Well, you can. Is this a Euro step? Well, first we're going to see this deep tray. That was a pro shot, but what it was a pro shot. Kaysen was still there, showing it's a pro shot. But this last drive, he picks his dribble up behind the three-point line, and he's like a gazelle.
Watch
Look
this.
at these strides.
One, two.
And that was a nice little, well, it's not a nice Euro step, but it was going to be a Euro step.
Oh, Kaysen hits the first free throw.
And he has the, if we can get a close-up of the gym shoes, he has the flight gym shoes on, throwbacks. Look at this.
Nice.
Yeah, those are throwback Nikes.
Second one rolls off the rim, no good. Huron quickly back down the floor. Lewis with the drive. He will get the foul call. Bucket is no good.
You know, sometimes, Pete, a player has made up his mind well before he touches the ball, like a quarterback when he's throwing the ball to somebody. Lewis, he was shooting this one well before he got that ball in his hands.
That started at the half-court line.
He was a beeline. And it was like, is this one of those 5-4-3 or what? 3-2-1 moments where you're playing against the outside? Because he just went right to the rack.
Absolutely. Well, and, you know, there's something to be said for being the aggressor and trying to get the momentum back and, you know, again, trying to reestablish yourself. Because, again, you know, they're down 8 right now, and they have to be careful here in the last half of the first half to make sure that this they don't get run out of the gym here. Oh,
sometimes you don't want to leave your feet, Mr. Cunningham. If you're going to shoot, shoot.
Yeah, that looked like he halfway in that drive, he was like, I got to pass it, and there was no one there. Oh, Womack will bring it up the floor. Trying to get that ball down low in the paint. Nice shot nice shot by Julian Lewis for Huron.
And you can see Lewis has been more aggressive the last 2 possessions.
Louder with the shot. No good.
Womack really hasn't been aggressive on the offensive end attacking the paint. He's really been outside trying to get things going, but he's definitely one of the scoring threats that the Rats need.
Well, and maybe this is due to Pioneer's defense, but the River Rat offense hasn't looked terribly cohesive yet in this game.
Not a smooth motion.
Yeah. Not playing together as much. And Mike Robinson with the drive and the bucket. And Pioneer will call timeout. That was an 8-point advantage. Huron's cut it to 4 with just 2:47 to play here in the half. So this is exactly what Huron needed to get back in this and keep Pioneer from getting further ahead.
Well, you saw the assistant coach Amici Adoji come out halfway and met one of the Pioneer defenders, and you saw in that replay nobody stepped up to protect the rim. And that's exactly what Coach Adoji was telling them. If a player on the outside is driving to the rim, leave your man, protect the rim.
Right.
And Pioneer, that was one of their few bad possessions on the defensive end. They've been playing great defense.
Well, Pioneer was up 10. Huron on a little 6-0 run here. Pioneer doing a good job calling a timeout to try and stop this run early. And we'll see what happens when both teams come back on the floor for the last couple minutes of this half.
Well, I tell you, Pete, for me it's been that defensive side for the Rats. You know, they're playing a lot better in the passing lanes. You saw a couple turnovers caused by defensive pressure, and that's a hallmark of a Coach Samaha squad. They start on the defensive end, easy transition, attack the rack. You don't really see a lot of, and we haven't seen a lot of outside shooting out of the River Rats. They shoot high percentage shots in the lane.
Well, you know what I'd like to see Huron do out of the timeout is start pressing.
Something different.
You know, put a little real defensive pressure, full court press on the Pioneers and see how they react. Now, they didn't do that, but it would be nice to see them do that to see if they could actually kind of upset Pioneers' offense a little bit more.
Oh, that's a travel.
There's a drive and a shot, no good. Picked up by Robinson. Now he'll get it to Womack.
Boy, Cunningham is very handsy. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a call yet.
And into the corner to Ayush. And looks like he stepped on the end line. There'll be a turnover in favor of Pioneer.
I'll definitely have to understand where you're at on the court because there's really not that much pressure. Just 1/2 a hair too soon or too late on that pass. And for the Rats, they're in the penalty, so attacking the rim it can help them, chop away at the lead without the clock running.
Nice pass by Pryor down low.
What's up, Holmes? Chris Holmes on that shot, tall off of the backboard. And he had to get this shot off. Smart, wow, right over Mike Davis.
And we have another whistle and a foul on the floor. Well, there's your foul on Cunningham.
Well, you can see him all the way. He's riding him with his left hand.
Yeah.
And each time, if you see it really quick, he does a quick hand check. And, you're not supposed to be able to put hands to slow a driving offensive player down. So just a matter of time.
Well, looks like Cunningham's going to take a seat on the bench.
That's kind of twofold, too, for the Pioneers. They're not playing as many players. So if they get into foul trouble, it really shortens up the rotation for Coach Marion.
Oh, Robinson hits the first free throw. Next one on the way, and that's good as well.
I like his game.
1:41 to play in the half. 4-point edge for the Pioneers on their home floor. Hope you're enjoying all the action here on CTN Sports Game of the Week. I'm Pete Boyer along with Kevin Bryant, describing all the action for you. Now Lauder will inbound for Pioneer.
That's not a foul, come on.
And there is the whistle call. Young Mr. Ayush is going to pick up that foul on Pryor.
Dak, yeah, he was a little bit too handsy there, and you can see, not sure if he got Kaysen in the face there, but he's definitely riding that wrist.
They're Lauder with the pull-up jumper and no good. Ayush with the rebound. Huron quickly down the floor.
We've been waiting for Womack to show up and do some stuff like that. That was a great drive and finger roll.
2-point advantage. As we head to 1 minute left.
Right there.
There's a turnaround jumper from Pryor, no good. Now Lauder with it. He nearly travels. His shot is off the mark. There's a jumper from the baseline. That misses everything from Robinson. Pioneer back down the floor. And Lauder will pull it out and go for the final shot of the half. .20 seconds to go.
A lot of good defense out of the Rats. Only holding these guys to 8 points. Really 8 to 10. I mean, it's not low scoring second quarter here.
Pryor with the long three, off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Huron. Lewis with the half-court shot and nearly hit that one. And the Pioneers will head into the locker room at halftime, up just 2, 26-24. We're going to be back with second half action right here on CTN Sports Game of the Week.
Flat Earthers! Mike Raffone! To a troll army! Autism is real! Palestinian politics! Baklava! Miss Washington, beast forehead people, demonic devices, diverse viewpoints, dynamic personalities, 30 minutes! Contact CTN to schedule your show on Access Ann Arbor. And I'm talking to you, buddy!
And we are back with CTN Sports Game of the Week. Second half action coming up. Pretty lively first half there, Kevin.
It's what we expected, right? Two teams with stellar records, don't like each other too much. And this is going to be a second half that I'm sure a lot of people out there in TV land are going to be rewinding and watching again.
Well, Pioneer had a 10-point advantage in the second quarter, and Huron cut that advantage to 2 at halftime. A good effort on their point. And the first shot by Pioneer is no good. Huron back down the floor. That shot no good. Picked up off the floor by Case and Pryor. Quickly down the floor. That shot under the rim and off the mark. And quickly Huron back down the floor. Off the glass, no good. And
well, that's
Pryor
a lot
with
more
another
transition
rebound.
than we saw in the first half, right?
It definitely seems like pace pretty quick here in the first half as Lauder drives the lane and hits the bucket.
Kind of starting out the same way with a lot of pressure, man-to-man defense like we started the game out.
A long three-pointer on the way, no good from Robinson. Pryor with another rebound. And pushing the ball up the floor. That's off a River Rat player. Pioneer will keep control of the ball.
You see this play here by Lauder. Nice. I mean, he has some of the best English off of the backboard because Drew is always on the motion and in the move.
Well, his legs may be moving, but his hands are real steady.
He's smooth with it. Look at this. Look at this. English. That back English.
Another shot by Lauder is good.
See, Drew, you got to be real careful when you're describing Drew Lauder, folks. Check out this guy's shoes. They're different than what they were in the first half. He was out there, and Pryor. They got their second half shoes on now.
Shot off the mark by Huron. Lauder down the floor. like a patch of greased lightning, and his shot is good. And Huron calling the timeout as Pioneer goes up 8.
Flash 2.0. Look, he got his little Kobe shoes on, flying up and down the court. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but look how fast he's moving now. And he still gets his shot off. That's the amazing thing of a player that's not blessed with a lot of height, but he comes in top speed and still gets the shot off with touch.
Yeah. I love to see that control in a player's game. You know, as you said in the first half, you know, he started out very wild, but now such control with the ball. Such a difference.
Well, you see the maturity of his game. His game has blossomed into just more than a shooter and more than just his speed. I mean, that's his superpower. His superpower is definitely his quickness. Look at this guy.
And a
steal. Could have called a backcourt.
By Lauder. And Ayuf tried to come back and steal. Now we have a whistle on the floor.
Check out Lauder. Zing. 2 steps and he's up to top gear. That was a tough call, too.
Oh, Pioneer will keep the possession after the foul. Lauder with it again. Pull-up jumper is off the back of the rim, no good. Pryor with the knockaway gets it to Lauder.
That's on Huron's teammates. They got to let Womack know that there's going to be a back check.
Now foul called on the drive.
Look at this. And that's right in front of your bench. You would think that the bench would be standing up helping out the player that doesn't have any eyes behind his head, folks.
Well, and that's why you kind of see, like, you see good players on Huron, but just not quite. It's just not quite there yet as far as the mesh.
Well, and also that's why in the first half, the team wants to have their offense away from their bench. In the second half, the bench should be helping when you have the offensive possession, and that was a time right there they just didn't do it.
Oh, Pioneer with the 10-point advantage. Huron yet to score here in the second half. And another foul called. This time on Pioneer.
Got to keep the fans out of the players' way. Come on now.
Now, 3-pointer on the way by Robinson is good.
Mike Robinson's got a very good game inside and outside to be 6'5". You can see him playing at another level.
Lauder driving the lane. Off the mark, no good. Rebounded by Lewis. He'll drive the lane and pass it. And an easy bucket for Kingsley Perkins.
Timeout.
Timeout on the floor, 30 seconds by Pioneer.
Coach Marion called that timeout for the offensive end. There's been some deficiency breakdowns on his side, but this is for a solid offensive possession, no doubt. There's been some shots a little bit too quick, and we don't have a shot clock, but some shots that have maybe not moved the ball around and allowed that Huron defense basically to get a trap or a rebound and go down the other end on transition.
Well, and Pioneer's offense in this half has become a little one-dimensional with all Drew Lauder. They need to make sure that they spread the ball around, make sure that they get Pryor into the offensive flow in the second half.
I agree, and and we haven't seen any other players outside of those two really have stepped up on the offensive end. Aiden Wright is a capable scorer, so maybe, and we saw him in certain games take over. Yeah, this is a set play, right? This is definitely a set play.
Absolutely. Well, you see more players getting involved in the offense. Turnaround jumper by Pryor is off, no good. Rebounded by Lewis. Here comes Robinson down the floor. He drives the lane. His shot is no good. Looked like got a hand in there, and Lauder quickly back down the floor. And knocked away by Huron, but Pioneer will keep it.
Yeah, Pryor
There's
came
a block.
in. It was a great block, came in, but the problem after that play was he stayed on the defensive end and walked down court and got an earful from Coach Marion about hustling back down.
Aiden Wright from the corner for 3.
We just mentioned Aiden's name, and he's a guy that, you know, the last year when we did this game, took over in the 4th period.
Right. Well, and you could see the potency of Pioneer's offense if they get right into that 3-man rotation there, that triangle of Pryor, Louder, and Wright. There's a drive by Louder, and that's good. But it's hard to argue when you've got a player that talented able to drive the lane and hit the buckets.
He can get his shot off at any time, and that's what we were saying in the first half. His game has evolved where Drew now knows where he can put his foot on the gas pedal. And what was that? Oh, my God. That was a 3. What did he just do? We couldn't even slow it down fast enough for Flash 2.0. That's your new nickname, Drew. That dude is quick.
It's one of those moments.
Yeah. Did
what
that
did I
just
see?
happen?
And, of course, you see that Pioneer kind of let Huron get back to within 5, and now they've just gone on a little 5-0 run themselves, back out to 10-point advantage.
And it's really what happened was there was a timeout by Coach Marion, and since then it's been a lot more energy out of his team.
Well, you can see Pioneer has a lot of components. They got a couple of good defensive stoppers in Cunningham and Van Rentgen. You know, they've got 3 good offensive players. If they could just get kind of that mix going a little bit more, and their other contributing players, this could be a real potent team come playoff time.
Well, they lost over the break to Wayne Memorial, and it was one of those losses that had a come to Jesus moment the next day in practice. Everybody sat man to man and said, "We need just out of you," and that person turned to the other person. So the Pioneers, the chemistry is coming together. So you put that with this talent, Pete, and they're going to be a scary, scary team in the postseason.
Pioneer Louders with the spin move. Nice pass. That's what I'm talking about. When he gets to distributing the ball as well as scoring, this game is going to be easy for Pioneer.
And it's easy for Drew once he gets into that gear where everything is flowing for him. You saw that, the ebb and flow of that play. He allowed the defense to come to him, and that was a solid pass right on the money.
So we have a whistle on the floor and a foul called on Pioneer. Cason Pryor picks up that foul.
And check out another spin, and you see Davis there. Maybe you need to come in a little bit quicker on the help side defense, but great play there by Louder.
Well, and Davis in great position to receive that pass and to get the easy layup.
Easy. Edmondson with the three-pointer, and his dad on the bench over there. Happy to see that, I am sure.
Tyson Edmondson with the 3 for Huron.
And this kid is deadly from outside. He's been hitting a lot. He even hit a game-winning three-point shot. That was down. Nice shot. Nice to see getting some scoring off the bench for the Rats.
Another three-pointer on the way for Pryor, and he hits another one.
You sure that's not 4? I mean, that was really deep.
Well, we'd like to give him 4, but the rules of the game don't allow that. And the Pioneer student section finally kind of getting into this game, picking up their energy. I think what we need is a dunk.
You don't think we're setting that up? I think
it's coming fourth quarter?
It's coming, man.
1:37 to play here in the third.
You can see on that play there how Cason likes it when he's doing something special. So I really think, Pete, that dunk is not too far off.
Hopefully it's coming. There's Louder driving the lane. Gets the shot off, no good, but he draws the foul.
That's a closest to being a goaltending because it looked like the ball hit the backboard before the Huron defender went up and touched it. And Coach Marion's trying to get Aiden Wright down there to the bench to get this Inbound play. Man, it's dangerous.
Oh, bounce pass into Louder, being trapped in the corner. Gets it to Pryor for another three, and that's no good, but rebounded by Wright. His 2 putbacks are no good. A third one is no good. Pryor comes up with another offensive rebound, and finally the whistle blows, and Case and Pryor will head to the line.
Pete, you said something earlier in the game I got to revisit. You said that rebounding is a lot about effort. And if that wasn't a play that reinforces what you were saying, my friend, I just don't believe so. I mean, that was effort. And that was more effort from the Pioneers.
Yep. 4 offensive rebounds on that one play set.
And 3 out of 4, it didn't really look like they had position. It was just effort. This is all effort. And some long arms from Pryor.
That doesn't hurt,
that
does
hurt.
Now Pryor hits the first.
If there's one thing that's going to be a coachable moment for Coach Marion at the top of our screen there, it's going to be the foul line. Pioneer needs to tighten up some of those missed free throws.
Now Pryor hits both of those. And Pioneers out in front by 10 once again.
And you can see Cunningham is backed off. In the earlier part of the game, he was real handsy on players.
Turnaround jumper from Perkins is no good. Another shot by Huron, another putback is no good. And here's some effort by the Huron River Rats on their end of the floor.
Davis there, we said that he has those shoulders for rebounding.
And there's a steal by Lewis, and Cunningham gets the steal back. A little stare down there from Cunningham and Gardette.
That's that defensive intensity that Coach Marion wants out of his entire team. Cunningham is definitely the defensive stopper. And he's the kind of an engine too, because he fires up the crowd as his reactions.
Well, you can get energy from both sides of the floor. That's the nice thing about this game. Louder out by the half-court line.
This has got to be a scary feeling for the River Rat defender. You're on ice skates. He's got you.
There it is, another bounce pass this time. The Holmes, and that is another easy bucket for the Pioneers. There's a reach-in foul. Looked like this is on Louder.
The Pioneer is protecting this house right now. Each time that the Rats try to, and they get a little run, Pioneer answers and then some.
Yep. Well, 51-39 Pioneer advantage. Just 2.7 left here in the third.
They don't know how many players on the court right now.
Huron will inbound underneath their own basket.
Now they have the 5.
And Gardette with the jumper, and it's short. And we'll head to the fourth quarter. Pioneer leading Huron 51-39. We'll be back with more action in the fourth right here on CTN Sports Game of the Week.
CTN is Ann Arbor's PEG station, which stands for Public, Education, and Government. With 4 channels, CTN provides multimedia resources and programming to serve the Ann Arbor area and beyond. In addition to broadcasting and live streaming locally produced programming, CTN is dedicated to training the public on a variety of media production equipment and techniques. From event coverage
Gonna give 110%.
to local news
I'm Dana Denton, and you're watching FYI.
to programming produced by the public,
This ain't no con made up by matchstick men.
CTN is your place for everything Ann Arbor and more. CTN. Connect, create, communicate.
awesome, Ann Arbor.
And we're back here on CTN Sports Game of the Week. It's been an exciting 3 quarters of action. Pioneer forging out to a 14-point lead so far. Huron trying to cut into the lead, and like you said, Kevin, every time they cut into the lead a little bit, there's Pioneer coming back with a burst of their own to retake that big advantage.
And for Coach Marion, he's got Drew Lauder stepping up. He has Case and Pryor stepping up. Then he's got Cunningham coming in, had Aiden Wright coming in. Each player is adding and contributing, and that's what a solid team needs to do. And kudos for Coach Marion so far in this game.
Well, Coach Marion with the shorter bench has made good use of the players he has.
Another point of emphasis. Good point.
Oh, Huron turns it over.
Just losing his footing there, it looks like Davis. Not enough contact to warrant a foul.
Pryor received the pass, but then kind of passed it back, and it was off a Huron player out of bounds.
Well, you can see Pioneer does not, their offense doesn't move as, it doesn't flow without Drew Lauder out there running the point. I mean, this guy has been playing for 4 years, and now he comes right back in the game, but their offense was not flowing that last possession.
Yeah, there wasn't a leader to take control of the ball.
Exactly.
I think Cunningham and Van Rentergen tried, but just obviously they don't have the same game as Drew Lauder.
And the Huron defense isn't as afraid when Lauder's out there. He puts fear on you.
Lauder's jumper, there's an offensive rebound by Pryor. He'll take the jumper off the rim, no good.
That probably wasn't a great shot off the dribble.
Now Womack takes the shot. We have a whistle. Holmes will pick up the foul.
Lewis, I'm sorry, Womack and Lewis, their scoring hasn't been there in the second half, and that's really been the difference in that third quarter. I think a lot of that has to do with the Pioneer defense, though, than anything else. You know, you've had hands in the passing lane and hands up on shots.
Very physical defense.
Really.
Well, and then you've always got the added benefit of having a 6'7" Pryor ready to block your shot. Yeah. Now Lauder down the lane. Looks like he's going to try and hand that off halfway up in the air, and Huron got in the way of that pass.
Watch how fast he cuts, though. Beep, beep, I mean, that guy is fast. Good job by Womack getting a hand on the leather.
Now Lauder with it back out top.
Good move.
There's a drive by Pryor. And good move, didn't get the finish, but he grabs the offensive rebound.
There's your dunk.
Now it's on the floor, back down the floor for Huron. And ball is stripped away by Van Ventergem. Another nice defensive play.
Well, we got to look at the replay. That was off the Huron player, right? I mean, look at this hands by, is it Van Rentergem or was that Cunningham?
Number 11.
Yeah,
it's Van Rentergem.
Look at this. It rolls right off the foot. So if it's not a foul, this ball has to be Pioneer's ball. That's a classic bad call.
Can't win them all, Kevin.
Yeah, I hold those officials to a high standard. And that one was right in his face. That was too easy. It was either a foul or off the Huron shoe.
There's a shot. No good by Perkins, but he draws the foul.
And Kinsley Perkins has got a lot of size, too. 6'6" sophomore. Between him, 6'5" Mike Robinson, Huron's got a lot of length. and it doesn't.
Well, if they're young, you might develop into a little bit more.
Well, what I was going to say, Pete, they're not exposing the length. They're not utilizing that length. It seems like the offense is kind of cluttered.
Yeah, just not quite all together there yet.
Yeah. He's going right. Boom.
Louder up the floor to Pryor, and he will lay it in.
What a find out the pass. No look.
Al Lewis with the drive and the shot, no good. Offensive rebound by Perkins. His putback is no good, but again, draws the foul.
Check out the look. I mean, really, Drew never looked over his shoulder to see Pryor coming in. That was a great find.
That's a real good feel play. Just know your player's there.
Yeah.
Toss him the ball, and he finishes. So you can see that this team has a real potential later on in the season and into the playoffs.
Well,
that they could do some damage.
Well, you think about last year, right? This first year those two players were together, and they had to go up against the Skylines of the world. Huron had some senior players on their squad. It's Pioneers' time right now. Boy, did he set him up.
And nothing but net.
I mean, he put him right there. He spun him around. I mean, hey, Drew Louder put him into school on that move.
There's a shot by Huron, no good, and another whistle by the referees. This is going to be an offensive foul.
That's offense? Nice spin move there by Louder. Drop. So Louder goes on the offense. Now he's getting a whole bunch of assists, making a strong case for our player of the game.
Now Louder quickly down the floor. In the corner for three, off the mark by Cunningham. No good.
And that was a slow motion shot out of Cunningham. He kind of rolled into it.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to shoot that.
Kind of reminded me of like Bob Cousy back in the day. A little set shot, you know. And he was upset that he missed the shot, too, because he was wide open.
I think he overthunk it.
Yeah.
He didn't shoot it in rhythm. That was more the play. Wow, Louder sets people up with that dribbles, man.
And Louder loses the ball. Lewis back down the floor, and the finger roll is good by Julian Lewis.
If Huron's going to do something now or never, last 5 minutes of the game, they're going to have to cut these possessions down, and that's why that timeout came from Coach Marion. Now is not the time to get sloppy with the ball, fellas.
Absolutely, and a good time for a timeout by Marion.
That was a timeout to stymie the momentum that was about to come from that bucket from Huron. It immediately shut up the Huron faithful on both sides of the gym. Smartly controlling the house, Coach Marion. All of our social media, people can check us out on. Sometimes I forget that we're on Twitters and we're on the, YouTube, and we're everywhere. And
we are everywhere. Twitter.
And then our partners, in the media business in this town. We love AnnArbor.com. Terry Jacobs, that guy does a phenomenal job.
Check him out.
Always.
Get in touch with your town.
Yeah, you need to have a local paper like that. It's nice to have the stories that they do on the athletes too, and not from a big paper that's not in the town.
Right. Well, and in this day and age of media, you don't get the handheld paper so much anymore.
Exactly.
But you can certainly still stay in touch with everything that's going on about town. There's a long three-pointer, no good, and out of bounds.
Well, that would have cut it under the double digits right there. So, and now you see Huron really extending this pressure.
Well, they've got to do something here to try and force some turnovers and get some defensive stops. And there Huron gets one right there. Robinson with the drive, going for the dunk, and rejected by Cason Pryor.
Well, Cason's really lucky he did not get a technical as well. He got a technical last week on CTN when he dunked and stood over somebody. And this is something that I love the play, but he's going to have to get the extra play out of his game. This part right here. That part right there, you got to let that one go. Everybody know what you did, young man.
Right. That's about maturity.
It is, and it'll come over time. But last time, it cost the Pioneers a technical and points.
Yeah.
Luckily, it didn't there.
Oh, nice bounce pass. Again, another shot blocked by Lewis. He was calling for the foul. Pioneer quickly down the floor. Aiden Wright with the easy bucket as he gets the pass from Drew Louder.
Aiden Wright started it on one end and finishes it on the other end. Good play.
Shot no good. Rebounded by Pryor. And there's an errant pass.
Now check out what Louder is about to do. Louder's about to go over to Pryor and say, give me the ball. I need the ball next time. Give me the ball.
Well, he certainly came over to Pryor after Pryor corralled that rebound and wanted to get the ball to bring it up the floor.
Pryor kind of waved him off.
Yeah. All right, Lewis on the drive, and that one is good. Now we have it. Louder on the floor and Lewis on the floor.
A little contact there up top. Lewis going well upstairs to get that over Pryor. So now it looks like that call was a 7th on Huron, so it looks like it's going to be a 1-and-1 for Drew Louder. You get that feeling right now, Pete, that Pioneer isn't secure in the win yet.
Right. Well, Huron is not going to go down without a fight.
Not with that coach on the bench. Coach Sabah, he's been in battles. He's been in fights. He's seen enough that he knows there's enough time on this clock for us to get back in it. And especially with the foul situation. 2 more fouls, and Huron is shooting the double bonus.
Now Louder hits both ends of the 1-and-1.
And that's why he needs the ball in his hand. He's a good free throw shooter.
Long three-pointer on the way by Huron, off the back of the rim, no good. Alex Rendergee picks up the foul.
And that's his 4th foul. He's the top defender. You can't lose him if you're Coach Marion. He needs to understand he's got 4 fouls. Dylan Studstill, that's the first time for this junior into the game. He's going to give Lewis a break.
First 3 throws off the front of the rim.
That's not going to help.
Louder down the floor. Off the glass and good. And give him the foul as well. That is smooth.
Well, that was smooth and strong, too. The way he finishes at the rack. First, showing off, of course, the handles.
Well, look how many jerseys of the Huron players you're seeing with their number as they trying to chase down Drew Louder.
A little fatigue, too, on the side of the Rats. And it's hard catching Flash 2.0. This guy is going at top-notch speed.
Absolutely.
And he slows down mid-air, double clutches, keeps the ball away from the defender, high off the glass, and he makes it.
And Louder completes the 3-point play. And just like that, Pioneer up 15. And there's a
62 to
turnover
47.
by Huron. Now, I swear we were in the 3rd quarter. It was like 39-27.
Well, it just seems like the way the Pioneers this entire game, they just add slowly and add slowly and add slowly. You look up at the scoreboard, and we're darn near
circus shot by Pryor, and it's good. And with 2 minutes and 40 seconds of play, Pioneer looking to close out the Rats here. There's a strong foul by Pioneer.
You can see that the Rats are trying to shoot the ball from the outside, but what they're not doing is throwing the ball inside to the paint and pushing it back out, and that way the defense would collapse in and come back out. And so they're making it very tough on themselves because, the Pioneers know that they're trying to shoot threes.
Well, and I got to credit the Pioneer defense for that, taking the Huron River Red offense out of its flow this game. Because obviously you don't wind up with an 8-2 record without having some good play on the floor, regardless of your competition. So obviously you got to really credit the Pioneer defense for this game tonight.
Well, now they are in the double bonus of the Rats, so they'll definitely have to take it to the rack each time.
Well, it got it to Louder. He gets it down the floor. Looked like that was sizing up for that alley-oop dunk you were looking for.
Yeah. And Pryor.
And the Huron player just got in the way. There's a nice putback and score by Huron.
And Pryor's running up court a little bit fast. I think he's kind of leaking out.
There's a reverse layup by Aiden Wright, and that'll make it 66-51 favor of the Pioneers. Another turnover by the Rats, and Pioneer will slow it down. Under 2 minutes to play. Another whistle. Ball looks like ball out of bounds. Pioneer's going to keep the possession. Alex Cunningham will inbound underneath the Pioneer basket.
And that might be the last time we see Drew Louder tonight coming out for the foul. He's earned it. Go over there and get you some water, Mr. Louder.
And I don't know how much basketball fans these Pioneer crowd is, but they should be giving that man a standing ovation as he heads off the floor.
Huge. You know where they're going to really miss him is next year when he's not up and down this court, where he's playing in college.
Tried to get it in deep to Pryor. He tries to force a shot, no good. Picked up off the floor by Studstill.
Now the really young players are in for the River Rats.
And that was just taken away by Pryor out of the air. And another little stare down between Pryor and London Dottery.
That's unfortunate right there. But you know where that came from, Pete? Players staring down other players. And immediately the Huron player took offense to what Pryor did, turning around and looking at him. We saw that on the block. And Pryor is a player that's very talented. That extracurricular stuff, though, going to have to learn how to let that go.
Take a look at this on the replay. There's the jump stop. Pryor with the pickup of the ball. And
you see, even Pryor kind of bowled up with his fist in his hand.
All officials take control.
And
after players were kind of gathering on the floor.
So all of the calls went to the Huron player on that. You know what happens, though? It's the second person sometimes that gets caught. You know,
that's a classic example of that.
You know, put the head down. You saw Pryor put his hands up, but the immediate reaction was, hey, he kind of bowled up at the guy.
Yeah.
And then, oh, not me, not me.
Pryor splits the Tex.
Also, one thing to put in the back of the mind is these two teams meet in 3 more weeks across town in the greenhouse. And this type of stuff we don't want to see carry over.
What we want to see is a rematch with a high competitive level.
Yeah, and for the Rats, you can see, we can start talking about it now. Their offense has to pick up. You know, they played some solid defense, but on the offensive end, it just wasn't a rotation. They weren't moving the ball. And I think that Coach Samaha has to really look at getting that ball inside to his size. He has some definite size down low in Perkins and Mike Davis, and he's got 4 guys that are over 6'5" on the squad. We didn't really see them dominate in the paint. And for all of the size that Kaysen has for Pioneer, he's not wide. He's not going to, get you out off the box.
Approaching the final minute of play in this game. Looks we have an offensive foul going the other way. Let me check here. Luckily had a foul away from the basket on that. Huron on offense. Last minute of play. Near steal there. Over and back is the call.
The ball was tipped. Come on, ref. The ball was tipped in front of you. Come on, you want to come look at the replay? The ball was tipped in front of him.
I think Coach Samaha sees the same thing you're seeing.
Come on, this is too easy. The ball was tipped by Aiden Wright.
Yeah.
It's easy call. Man. And now they're still talking to the benches are still talking to the official. They can just dribble this one out and call it a night.
And that's exactly what it looks like they're doing. Huron trying to steal it. And Holmes with the layup. That'll make it 71-51 with the final 10 seconds ticking off the clock. And that's going to do it, as the Pioneers will win it by 20 on their home floor, 71-51. We're going to take a break and be back with more right here on CTN Sports Game of the Week.
Let me ask you a question. What do you value? How about access to your child's education, their football game, their swim meet, their high school musical, their academic future? Does that matter? What about your access to your government, your police, fire, and public safety, parks and recreation activities, state and local officials, the folks you elect to make decisions for your community? Is that worth anything to you? What about your rights, freedom of speech, to communicate your message, to let your voice be heard? That's got to count for something, right? So let me ask you again, what do you value? How about public, educational, and government access television? It belongs to you. Let's keep it that way.
And welcome back to the CTN Sports Game of the Week. Who else would have been the player of the game than this guy here? I nicknamed you Flash 2.0 because of the speed. It might stick, it might not stick, but tell me, what was it like out there playing against a rival?
Rivalry game, always a great atmosphere. A lot of fans come out. We had the alumni from the state championship team come out, so it was real, real homey environment, real good environment. Huron kids came in, they was loud. First half, we had some struggles, so at halftime we had to just get back to the drawing board, see what was working, what wasn't working, and just go what was working the rest of the game. And that was defensive transition. So we just decided to get back to that.
Well, something else changed at halftime. It was the shoes. I mean, you came out, and it was a different game. It seemed like you were attacking the rack as well as finding other players.
Yeah, me and Kaysen was both talking about it. We both had on some Jordan 1s. The grip in here was not going with those, so we were settling a lot more than we were supposed to. So when we got back to the locker room, we both was like, yeah, I got to change. So changed our shoes, came back. We was getting to the cup at ease. So that was just what we needed to do, I guess.
10-2 sounds good. Congratulations on the win tonight, Mr. Louder, Flash 2.0.
I actually used to call my dad Flash. That was his nickname when he was in high school. So fits.
It fits.
Yeah.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you.
Pete, send it back over to you to wrap this one up.
Thanks, Kevin, for all that. And that was our Player of the Week, Drew Louder. Once again, I'd like to thank all the people that makes this production possible. Our director, Rob Cross. Audio and replay by Chloe Hill. Graphics by Katsumi Nagai. And our camera guys, Jason Broniak and Robert Hornbacker. For Kevin Bryant, this is Pete Poyer. Once again, the final from Ann Arbor Pioneer High School. It's Pioneer 71 and Huron 51. Car sighting. Doug Carton.